And we are live! Alright. So, welcome to a new game, Herald of the Mists. It's apparently a text-based adventure fun game. And it's very special to me because the developer of the game, Nikki from Nikki Development Corporation Studio Group thingy-majig, contacted me directly. They went out of their way to contact me and inform me about the game. And since it seems like it's right up my alley, I thought I would try it out. Obviously today we're only going to be playing the demo. It's like an early access version of the game. But hopefully we're going to have lots of fun and be excited for the full release of the game. Anyway, let me just start it up. Bada boop and bada beam. Alright, everything should be on the screen. Let's get started. I'm gonna have to be prepared for lots and lots of reading, which is, you know, it's gonna be hard on the voice, but that's the price to pay for good games like these. Anyway, let's get started. I had the settings open for some reason. And the dog is here. He's going to sleep. He's making a ball with all my bed covers. Anyway, let's go. Start. Diego of the Mists started a rebellion for the 3rd time. Wow. That's a lot of times. Determined to end his defiance, the Queen dispatched an army, her army, led by Kai the Written, into the Mists. Neither Kai nor the army had ever returned. Okay, that's auspicious. The Queen has tasked you with uncovering the fate of her lost forces. Us. Let's be a bit more fancy. Just one name, though. Oh, hey, attributes. Strength allows you to wield better swords and heavy armor, while also improving your chance on strength rolls. Dexterity allows you better... Dexterity allows you use... Okay. Dexterity allows you to use better bows and daggers, while also improving your chance on dexterity rolls, and will allows you to use magic and spell books. I think I'm gonna go with dexterity and will. Choose 3 items. Sword requires strength. Bow requires dexterity 2. Oh, dang it. Well, I get dagger. 1 dagger. Requires will 2. Requires will 2. Okay, maybe I should put 2 points in just 1 stat instead. If that's how that's gonna play out. Yeah, if I need will 2 and I only have will 1, that's not gonna play out well. Okay, how about a dagger, armor, and a health potion? And choose 1 skill. Cast spell from the first circle of magic. Swing your weapon in a wide horizontal arc, dealing half damage to all enemies. Sword only. Sword only. Bows and crossbow only. Daggers only. Inflict a deep wound, inflicting 150% more damage to the enemy. That sounds nice. 2 damage, 3 damage, 2 damage. Okay. Hopefully this works out. You know, this point in the will seems wasted if I'm not going to be using any magic. Allows you to use magic and spell books. But they need another point, minimum. Oh well, maybe we'll get more points as time goes on. Okay, let's look at the UI for a bit. Here's our stats: HP, mana, armor, coins, circle. Here's my items. Here's my backpack: Queen's Medallion, Journal, 50 monies, bedroll and ink 5. Oh, what? Oh, it's part of my options too. Okay, I can just press escape to leave. Rations, 10. Actions, camp, leave. Okay. The Mountain Pass. The color of the Ascendant's throne, a set of 9 moons in the sky. Ooh. Turns blue, marking the beginning of the 3rd month of the year, and also the beginning of your journey. Standing atop the mountain pass and gazing into your destination, you understand why this place is called the Mists. The entire region is shrouded in a thick veil of fog, so dense that even the light of the throne cannot pierce through it. Through the veil, the only thing you can make out are the dark silhouette of nearby trees and a tall tower rising on the horizon. The 9 moons in the sky, each one is a different size and changes colors every month. To end the war with the second corner and unite all of Barang, Kairakan ascended to the largest of them and made all 9 moons his throne. That's fancy. Okay, so the throne is what they call... Okay, the throne is all 9 moons. Okay, I get it, I think. It's late, I need to rest before continuing my journey. You walk down the pass and look for a place to camp. Before you find a suitable spot, your eyes catch a faint light flickering in a short distance away. The fog prevents you from seeing the source of the light. It might be another person setting up camp, but as far as you know, there's no one living up this far. And we get our first dice roll. You roll dice for actions. You roll 2 6-sided dice, so 12, between 2 and 12, and add the relevant attribute. If your total meets or exceeds the difficulty class, you succeed. The displayed DC already accounts for your relevant attributes. So 6, 72%. The displayed DC already accounts for my relevant attribute. So is the DC 6, but since I already have 1, we have between 3 and whatever. Okay, I think whatever. 72% chance is pretty good. It couldn't be something dangerous. I'd better approach it without making a sound. Ooh, that's good. That was a 7. But I wonder if my dex was a +1 to that, so we had 8, or if we just got 7. Using... Oh, can I check the result? No? Okay. Using the fog to your advantage, you carefully approach the source of the light. As you get closer, it becomes more obvious that it's a campfire. You stop at a safe distance and you see a hooded figure resting by the big fire. The figure sits on a tree trunk and extends one hand towards the fire, one long sword leaning on their shoulder with its tip on the ground. The figure doesn't seem to be noticing you. Observe the figure for a while. Or it's only one person. Let's approach them. I approach without making any sudden movements. I make it clear that I don't mean any harm. I was looking somewhere to rest. May I join you? The moment you step out of the fog, the figure startles, swiftly reaching for the hilt of the sword resting on his shoulder. Stay where you are, the figure warns, and from the voice you understand the figure is a woman. Don't take another step. I don't move. The figure scans you through from head to toe, trying to figure out if you're dangerous. Who might you be? Tell you the truth might be dangerous. I'm just a traveler from Garth, name is Edward, or I'm Edwards, and I'm the Herald of the Queen. I come from Garth. Let's be truthful for now and see if being the Herald of the Queen is dangerous, like... if it's some kind of people are going to be hostile to this or not. She moves her head in surprise when she hears the Queen. That's so, she says in a soft voice. I'm Maya. Unlike you, I'm leaving. The Mists are going to Garth. She makes a hand gesture for you to sit. What is the Herald of the Queen doing here? When you sit across, you examine Maya. Some of her black hair peeks out from the hood, partially obscuring her face. The remaining portion appears quite dirty. Her eyes are light blue like the Ascendant throne in the sky. Her gaze is stern and her shoulders broad. You realize she's missing her right arm. Garth, also known as the First Corner, it is Barang's first and wealthiest settlement. Because of the capital of Barang, and nearly all trade flows to the city, the Queen's magnificent palace is also located there, featuring 9 towers, each representing one of the moons. Alright. I've come to find out what happened to the lost army. Oop. Maya's eyes twitches when she hears the army. I see. She might know something about the army, which is what we want to know about. Do you know anything? No, she says, dismissing the question. They passed by the outskirts of my town years ago. I haven't seen them again. You feel like she's lying. I heard some rumors, though. What kind of rumors? Her blue eyes watch the dancing flames for a moment before turning to you. They say the army betrayed the queen, she quietly responds, and Kai now serves Diego instead. Kai the Written. Known as the queen's most favored and loyal warrior, Kai's fate was written by the queen long before his birth. Hence, he earned the moniker the Written. Trained as a soldier, he led the Queen's army in numerous battles. He is renowned for his generosity, humility, diligence, and superior tactical acumen. During the Mist's second uprising, he not only defeated Diego's invincible army, Knight of the Mists, but also became their leader. Huh. Alright. He transformed into a hero among the people, strengthening the Queen's rule throughout Barang. And Diego of the Mist, also known as Diego the Betrayer. He is amongst the first tribes to settle in the Mists. Seeking to take advantage of Garth's weakness during the epidemic, he declared war on the Queen. However, he was prevented by the Ascendant himself, who descended from his throne. He was renowned for his compelling charisma, masterful persuasion, and the uncanny ability to incite rebellion, even among the most loyal devotees of the Ascendant the Queen. Well, that's auspicious. He has 3 children, the fate of the first is unknown, the second Glenn, and the third Celine. I can't say that much, at least. They say the army betrayed the Queen, and now they serve Diego. Nonsense! Kai is the Queen's most loyal soldier. I know. Maya smiles faintly, realizing the absurdity of what she's saying. Mists carry all sorts of nonsense around. Her smile fade. Sometimes they even make you believe in it. Where was your town? I'll probably investigate if the army passed by. It's in the west of the 5th corner, about 3 days' walk, called Cloud Fishers. Not too far from here either. Follow the northern road after crossing the pass. A rather small town, but it's safe. The corner. The 5th corner is Barang's 5th. Right? And the Mist's first official settlement. It was founded by Oswald Larian, a devoted follower of both Kairakan and his daughter. Even long after his death, Laran's steadfast loyalty continues to echo throughout the 5th corner, a place that has resisted all involvement in the rebellions of the Mists. It's in the west of the 5th corner, so we go to the 5th corner then west. Called Cloudfisher. My tits are held from side to side, watching the fire as she waits for your next question. Why are you leaving? Maya takes a moment before responding. There's nothing left for me in here. She stretches her legs, extending them forward. I used to be a mercenary, but things changed when I lost my sword hand. She indicates her missing arm with the remaining arm. I have to build a new life for myself. I believe Garth will offer good opportunities. Garth's a big city. I'm sure you'll find something to do there. Especially if you're the following of Karakan and his daughter. How did you lose the arm? That's more immediate. A small, melancholic smile spreads across her face. I undertook a difficult task that was beyond my capabilities and paid the price. I can say that much, at least. Anything worth doing is difficult, alright? Guards a big city, follow the teachings of Karakan and his daughter. I'm a member of the Church of the Family. She raises her hand to her face in a graceful motion, and she directs it towards the Ascendant's throne. Traditionally, this gesture means, raising your hand to your face, and then directing to the Ascendant throne. Traditionally, this gesture means alliance to the Queen when performed with the left hand, to Karakan with the right hand, and to both when using both hands. Well, I guess that counts as both hands. The Church of the Family worships both Karakan and Nayantara. So I gotta get these names in my lips. Karakan and Nayantara, and argue that the two cannot be worshipped separately. The majority of the population is part of this church. The greatest reward for them is to be part of the Holy Family, serving them and strengthening them in their ruling and duties. Karakan the Ascendant. With his wisdom, he became the leader of the survivors, and with his immortality, their god. To resolve the challenge wrought by the 2nd corner and to unite all of Barang, he ascended to the 9 moons, leaving the governance of Barang to his daughter, Nayatara, from his throne of the moons. He continues to watch. Twice he has descended from this station. First to cure the plague that suffocated Barang, and second to defend his daughter against the treacherous Diego. Will roll. I do not follow the teachings of the church. I've seen the Queen up close many times. She has a sacred aura for sure. It's not for me to worship as the Ascendant. Actually, no, I'm a member of the Church of the Daughter. I don't refuse the Ascendant's holiness, but I only follow the Queen's teachings. I'm a member of the Church of the Ascendant. The Ascendant is the singular and true God. Well, I don't know much, and it seems the Church of the Family is the majority, so let's go with the majority for now. I'm also a member of the Church. May I mimic the same hand gesture with both my hands? What's the last option? Not sure about my beliefs yet. Well, let's say we're not sure, but we're the majority for now. It's nice to encounter someone who shares the same beliefs. As your journey progresses, you realize how rare that is. May the Ascendant's throne lights your path. Next and final question. What can you tell me about the Mists? Plural. She sniffs, tossing a twig into the fire before responding. It's nothing like Garth, I can say that much, at least. People are cold and distant. Most worship the Ascendant, but do not follow the Queen. Sure, the Written managed to change that a bit. Kai the Written is the Queen's the general and folk hero. He played a significant role. I think we already read about that. Unfortunately, he disappeared along with the army. Wait, what was that? Most worship the Ascendant, so the Karakhan, the guy in the moons, but do not follow the Queen. But Kai the Written changed that. Understood. The fifth corner still supports the Queen. I can say the same for the Mist Dwellers and the Liberated. The who? The Mist Dwellers? It's governed by Glenn, the second son of Diego. Not as bright as his father, but still a cunning leader. He's a spawn of his father, even though he claims otherwise. He's been doing a good job turning people against the Queen, like his father worships the Ascendant, and thinks the Queen is a fraud. What? You mean the Ascendant who descended and stopped him? Like, directly? Weird. I've heard they've been struggling recently, though. I don't know why. I can say that much. What about the Liberated? It's ruled by a mad woman called Celine, daughter of Diego. Maya can't hide her hatred as she says Celine. They are pagans, not part of any church of belief. That's why they call themselves the Liberated. They don't follow any laws or rules, and their camp is a total madhouse. I would stay away from them if I were you. What about the fifth corner? It's governed by Varina, who still supports the Queen. It was the only tribe in the Mist that didn't involve the uprisings of Diego. It's also the most populous tribe, because it's the safest of Varina and tries to enforce the laws as much as possible, in accordance with Garth's standards. It'll be the safest place for you if that's what you're looking for. Have you been to the capital before? A long time ago. You wait for her to give more details, but the woman offers no further information. I wonder what this is about tribes. Tribe mode of government, or whatever this is going on here. Anything else? Maya picks up another twig to play with the fire. Let me share something not many people are aware of. Her eyes shift from the flames to you. Animals, she adds in a somewhat subdued tone. I don't know if it's just me, but here animals seems much more intelligent than those in Garth. Huh? For a moment, she becomes lost in thought. Sometimes they watch you. She almost whispers, as if she's afraid the birds will hear her. They just stop and watch you with a strange, thoughtful look on their face. I can say that much. At least it's probably just paranoia. Good to know. Now you tell me, what news do you bring from Garth? Despite the war, the loss of the army, and all other adversities, the city remains strong. The Queen's already formed a new army and dispels suspicion about the corners. The city is in a tough spot. The disappearance of the army and Kaiser has understandably stirred up unrest. I'm gonna go with unrest because that would make sense. Well, would it? If the city was in a tough spot, would they only send one person to look for the army? And would they want us to find it or not? Let's go with, despite the loss of the army, it's fine. Because I'm just one guy. Nice to hear that. Which would mean that because they're in a nice spot, they can afford to just send one guy and not really care about what happens. Nice to hear that. Honestly, the recent events, Diego's escape, and the army's disappearance have made me anxious about the possibility of another dissension. Since Karakhan, the Ascendant, moved to the throne and handed the rule to his daughter, he has descended twice. The first time was to deal with the plague, and the second was to shield Garth from the Mist's uprising. During each dissension, the Ascendant's throne turns blood red, flows sweep across the shores, and mountains tremble. The main goal of the Church of the Ascendant is to prevent the next dissension. Oh, really? Is it because when they descend, bad things happen? That sounds like good things. Spreading the teaching of Karakhan and preventing another dissension are their main duties. Oh! And that's the church that the people in the Mists worship. The Ascendant. We're the Church of the Family. They're the Church of the Ascendant. And they don't want another dissension. That seems contradictory. They believe they will ascend to the throne besides Karakhan after death and join him upon the return to the motherland. Considering the Queen's current path, it feels like it's an unavoidable outcome, regardless of the Church of the Ascendant's efforts. Let's go with I hope not. Maya nods thoughtfully. She looks at the throne as if to make sure that it's not red. I guess we'll see. It's getting late. You better get some sleep before the morning. Can I spend the night here? Please do. It's always safer to spend the night with someone in the Mists. Before she starts trying to sleep, Maya looks at her sword leaning on her shoulder for a moment. You must have some coin. You're the Queen's Herald after all. Would you like to buy my sword? I have 50 coins. She pulls the sword slightly out of its sheath, revealing the gleam of the metal. It's high quality. I have no use for it in guard, especially since I lost my arm and can't wield it. I'm sure it'll be more useful to you if I can give you a good deal, but I have 0 strength, so... The craftsmanship of the sword indeed looks impressive. Despite its size, it doesn't look overly heavy. The leather-clad scabbard and the hilt feature silver engravings. It's evident that it has been well maintained, and the steel remains shiny and the edge sharp. How much do you want for it? 30 coins. That's too much. No, wait, where did you get it? It was my brother's sword. You don't need to know any more details. Well, maybe we can flip it. I can buy it for 20 and sell it for 30. Make 10 bucks. Fine, she says in a dissatisfied tone, reluctantly extending the sword towards you. I take the sword and give her 20 coins. It's 2 strength, but it's much more damage. Compared to my dagger, which is only 2 damage, that's 3 or 4. But 2 strength. We'll see who can sell it. If I really need money, I'll sell it. I don't... Well, that's the dog. He just left too. Anyway. I don't know the actual value of money, so I don't know if this is a good deal or not, but we'll see. I wonder what he's barking at. Give me a moment. Okay, 1 moment. Okay, I shushed the dog. Coins. Great. Although Maya has handed you the sword, her eyes remains fixed on it, as if she might reconsider and snatch it back at any moment. Instead, she silently offers you a blanket, then lies down beside a tree stump, where she had been sitting, pulling a blanket over herself. I do the same. For closing your eyes, you gaze at the sky, observing the mist's shrouded star in the Ascendant's throne. You think about the mists and the army and your mission. Success in your mission means gaining the Queen's favor. Gaining the Queen's favor means a comfortable life in a special place at the Ascendant's throne after death. But is that what you want? I want to spread the Queen's wisdom and majesty. I want to bring peace. I want to explore the mist and uncover its mysteries. I want to embark on an exciting adventure. I want to be someone like Kai, whose action will echo and be remembered forever. That sounds pretty good. As you watch the mists gradually grow thick enough to blanket the throne, your eyes begin to heavy with the weight of sleep. I close my eyes. You wake up to a morning with the mist clearing. The mist is clearing. Your body is aching from the hard ground, but you feel reasonably rested. The fire has long since gone out and Maya has already left, but you're not alone. In the trunk where Maya was sitting, 3 men are now seated, each of them wearing dark green armor, with long capes touching the ground. The man in the middle has long black hair and is busy sharpening a piece of wood with a knife. The bald one to his left is munching on something, and the hooded figure to his right is watching you. Good morning, says the guy eyeing you. The others shift their focus to you. We got a bit worried that you might not wake up. You sense trouble. You sit up without any sudden movements. Who are you? We're the Knights of the Mists, says the man in the middle, with a gruff voice. His pitch black hair falls down his shoulder, his face clean-shaven. You heard about the Knights of the Mist before. They were the law enforcers in the Mist, initially loyal to Diego until Kadaritten won their allegiance. The man gestures with his knife towards himself, names Vol. Then he points to a bald man. This one's Fury. Next he points to his right. And this one's his bulk. He turns back to you. And you? I'm Edwards. What are you doing here? I'm with the army. I mean the Queen. For a few seconds, the 3 men watch you with surprised expression. The exchange glances between Bulk and Fury don't escape your notice. They don't believe you. I understand, Vol says. Vol does believe me, maybe. They change the subject. We're looking for a woman, about average height, blue eyes, and missing an arm. And we think you might know just where this lady is. She usually introduces herself as Maya. We kill Maya, shouldn't tell the truth. I met her. I can tell you where she's headed, but you're going to answer a couple of my questions first. Why are you looking for her? She's a murderer, the boy explains. He pauses in frustration when the bald man starts making squishing noise while eating some kind of fruit. She killed more than 7 innocent people. We've been chasing her for a while. I've met her. I can tell you where she's headed. Bob let out a sigh, showing signs of dwindling patience. Shoot, 2 questions only. The army. No, he doesn't know, but you feel like he's lying. Next question. Tell me about the Knights of the Mists. Sword our weapons, mist our shield. We're trained to fight utilizing the mist. No one can defeat us when we're surrounded by it. We follow the teachings of Kaida written and enforce the Queen's law, protect the balance among the clans of the mist. That's the end of your questions. Now spill everything you know. Maya told me she was going to Garth. The three men think over what you said. Did she say anything else? She said she used to be a mercenary, but she needed a new life, a one that she's planning to build in Garth. I see. Well, thank you for your cooperation. I believe that you are telling the truth. We'll leave you alone now and continue our way. To Garth, it appears. But before that, I'll have to politely ask you to hand over Maya's sword. It doesn't belong to you. Can you pay for it? How much would that be? 30 coins, flip it! Aww. Thought you could play this for fools? Don't drag it out. Just give us the sword and we'll leave you in peace. Are you changing the Queen's Herald? You're not the Queen's Herald, so cut the nonsense. Pull out the medallion. Vol carefully examines the bronze disc you pulled out and its birds on crown symbol catching his attention. He glances quickly at the other man before reaching up to his neck, pulling a pendant out from beneath his armor. Dangling from the chains, an identical bronze disc bearing the same symbol. So which of us is lying? Huh? Where'd you get that? It doesn't matter. We can't spend all day waiting for you, little Herald, so please, don't make this harder than it needs to be. It's not worth it for a sword. Oh well. I'm not gonna keep it. Hand over the sword. Vol takes the sword, examines it for a moment, and then spits on the ground. Pleasure doing business with you, he says with a wicked grin. I remember you. If you run into one of us, you can mention my name. He signals for the others to get up, and they comply. Oh well. I couldn't manage to flip it. Swords our weapon, mist our shield. Volt salutes, the three men depart, leaving you alone by the edge of the extinguished fire. There are three ways to save your progress. First is manual saving, which requires one ink item. The second is resting, either by setting up a camp or staying at an inn. The third and final is to bring at the statue of the Ascendant or the Queen. The game will auto-save you when you reach these points. Alright, let's hit the road. Needs 2 rations to move. I see. As you come down from the mountain pass, the air starts to warm up. Trees now are less denser. The fog thicker. You don't have a map. And even if you had one, the fog will render it almost useless. You will have to rely on your senses to find your way. Continue forward. You're at a fork on the road, one path cutting to the left and the other to the right. Standing at the very center of the split is a wooden signpost. Beneath it, something dark rests on the ground. It looks like a pile of rocks, but it's hard to make out what exactly it is. Get closer. You notice that what lies in front of the sign isn't a rock but a human body. The body is seated with its back leaning against the wooden post, legs stretched out in front. Its head hangs limply towards the ground, its clothing stained with dried blood. Check the body. Wait, no, look around for a trap. Quickly turning around, you observe as much of the surrounding as the mist allows you, but there's nothing out of the ordinary that catches your eyes. Just trees, chirping birds, mists, and more mists. Check the body. Bending down beside the body, you check for a pulse, but no luck. There's a figure as a woman, maybe in her 50s, and she must have been dead for maybe 2 or 3 days. She's got the bite marks on her neck. It seems she was killed by a wild animal. The peculiar aspects of how she was left here almost have this deliberately placed. You wonder if it would be the work of Vol and his companions, but that's very unlikely. Check for items. You check the woman's pockets and the small bag on her back. Among your findings are a couple of handy lockpicks, half-moldy piece of bread, and a few bug-infested fruits. Not every item takes up an inventory slot. Some will fit into your backpack. Weapons, armors, and potions and the rations occupy a slot, while others go in your backpack, with a few exceptions. Click on your backpack to view its content. Oh, there's a note. Okay, first take the stuff, lockpicks, rations, and the note. What are you talking about, Amy? The note reads. You really lost it, woman. What do you think you can do in the mist? Kyra Khan knows what happened to the army there. You turn the note and continue reading. The army is no more. They disappeared along with our son. We told that fool to stay home and to take care of his own life, but he was obsessed with Kai. Kai this, Kai that. I got what he deserved. Don't drag this on any longer. Come back. I don't want you to lose to the mist too, please. Well, they got lost. On the sign's left side, you can make out the words "Cloud Fishers." That's where we wanted to go at Maya's village. The right side, however, is obscured by dust in a tree branch. As you extend your hand to clear it, a sudden growl from behind startles you, sending shivers down your spine. When you turn around, you come face to face with the murderer of the woman, a leopard, almost as large as a bear. It approaches to you slowly and cautiously, keeping a watchful eye on both you and the woman. Shout, climb, or will. Oh, I need a spell. Dang it. Don't have a high chance, but I can try. I approach a tree with slow steps, then jump and climb it as soon as I can get high enough and high enough. Bleh. Nope. As you slowly approach the tree, the creature also moves closer to you with cautious steps. You're about to make a quick jump to climb, but before you can even try, the leopard jumps between you and the tree. I stand still. Your heart pounds, sweat pours from your forehead, the surrounding fallen silence, birds stop chirping, and the mist thickens. You manage to stay completely still. The leopard lunges forward. You shut your eyes with fear. It takes a moment to realize just that you're still upright. When you cautiously and slowly open your eyes, you find the leopard has passed by and distanced himself. And they go away. A little further away, it turns its head, observing you with an eerily human-like expression that sends shivers down your spine. Instead of a mere instinct-driven wild creature, it seems like a thoughtful human being sizing you up. When it vanishes through the mist, now you know that what Maya meant about the animals. I take a moment to catch my breath, then I check the unreadable part of the sign. The sign reads compass. Oh, we're going to Cloud Fisher. As you move on, the forest becomes thinner and gives way to an open landscape. The mist prevents you from seeing very far, but you can make out the silhouette of a small village ahead, the Cloud Fishers. The air is still cold, and still. The sound of birds in the forest is now replaced by an eerie silence of the mist. You hope the Cloud Fishers will be a solution to this silence. You approach the village. Cloud Fishers look smaller than expected. You see a handful of wooden houses along with a large barn and an inn. What really catches your attention are the huge nets lined up around the village, all facing in the same directions. Just nets? Not even in water, just nets. There are barrels placed underneath them. As you approach the nets, murmuring whispers reach your ear. His fate was written long ago, so faint it feels as though the mist is whispering to you, shrouded in pain and sorrow. When you move towards the sword of War's silhouette emerges from the mist. An old man sits on a rock, slowly sharpening the sword in his hand. Will he stand tall against his fate? He murmurs a melodic tone. When what is written comes to pass? It seems like he hasn't sensed your presence. Listen to the song. Service to the queen he rides, the old man continues with his deep voice. Through the mist where secrets hide, to make what's written true forever. He lifts his sword slightly and gently measures its sharpness with a finger, but the mist wields its own pen, writing dark tales of men. Say hello. The man stops singing and turns his gaze towards you. He doesn't seem overly surprised to see a stranger. His eyes are wary, but his shoulders are straight. His dark face is marked with wrinkles, and his short hair is now streaked with white. He jumps from the rock to the grass and approaches you. Apologies, I didn't see you, he says, giving you your hand a firm shake. I'm Aram. I don't remember seeing you before. Introduce myself. A Queen's Herald seeking the army? Aram. Oh, did I just say that? I didn't even have the option to lie. A Queen's Herald seeking the army. Aram scans you from head to toe. The Queen must be desperate. He wears dark green leather armor covered with thin metal plates on his shoulder and chest. On the left side of his chest, there's a round medallion engraved with a sword and mist, swirling around it, a knight of the mist. Always welcome. Anyway, welcome to the Cloud Fisher, Herald. Choosing this place as your first stop was the right decision. It's the safest place in the mists. What was the song? Singing? You've just arrived in the mist, and already you start to hear voices? Oh boy. You're a knight of the mist? Here's the medallion on his chest. That's right. Swords on my weapons, mist my shield. I can't help but tell about your encounter with Vol. Let's talk about it. I came across other knights as well. They were searching for someone named Maya. They stopped by here too, but I wouldn't call them knights. Just a bunch of chugs pretending to be something they're not. Too many knights have gone missing with the army. Verena's getting desperate to fill their places. Do you know the Maya? No. Kareem's gaze momentarily drifts in the void. He seems lost in thought. When he snaps out of it, he continues as if just hearing the question. I have neither seen nor heard of such a person. What about the Cloud Fishers? A small but safe village. You learn the details. The sound of a horn rising from the village interrupts Aram's sentence. He turns his head, looking at the village. The mist horn. It seems there's dread fog tonight. A fog that cloaks everything in a shroud of darkness. What are the nets? There are fog catchers. When the fog passes through them, they collect water droplets. That's why it's called Cloud Fishers. Why is it the safest place when there's no defenses? You don't necessarily need high, thick walls for safety. There are many ways to protect your home, and being inconspicuous is one of them. I'm sure you'll be pleased with your visit. Well, let's continue. Herald. Ham says as you're about to leave. When you return to him, you notice his gaze lost in the void. He takes a few seconds for the light to return to his eyes. Traveling during Dreadfall is dangerous. You should stay in the village tonight. If you want, you can stay in my room at the inn for the night. Where would you stay? I'm a knight of the mist. Okay. Also, he interrupts again, there's a thief wandering around the village lately. Keeps an eye on your belonging. He even stole my dagger. Journal updated. Oh, I can't use this for my journal? Journal. Stolen dagger. The mist gradually thickens, slowly enveloping Cloud Fisher and weaving its way through massive nets. Just beneath a nearby net, a young man is busy with barrels. Beyond him is the inn Aaron spoke of. I approach the net. Water drips from the net onto the barrel as the young man hurriedly swaps the full one with empty ones. He mutters to himself, but you can't make out what he's saying. When he notices you, the inn's that way, pointing dismissively without even looking at you. Need a help? The young man looks at you, seeming a bit surprised by your offer. Alright, if you could take that barrel over by the inn, I'd really appreciate it. The barrel reaches up to your waist and is filled to the brim. It looks heavy, but the young man doesn't seem to have any trouble lifting it and carrying it. I try to lay the barrel on the side and roll it towards the inn. Hey, 12. After making sure the lid is tightly closed, you slowly tip the barrel over. It's quite heavy, and rolling it uphill proves to be more challenging than you expect. Once you've set the barrel in place, you notice the young man using the same method. Thanks, I'd probably prefer to drown in dread fog than carry another one. Are you a mist stranger? Was that? Not from around here. From the mists, I mean. I am. Not surprised. I'm Hugo. Nice to meet you. He gestures for you to follow. Come on, you must have had a long journey. Let's get you a room. Well, well, says the bald man inside the inn as he spots Hugo. A record, finishing the work before evening. He stops mid-sentence when his eyes land on you. Welcome, traveler. I didn't see you there. He gestures towards a chair at the counter. Please have a seat. I sit, glancing around the inn. The inn looks clean and well kept. It isn't very large, with only 5 tables neatly arranged in the main room. Against the far wall, there's a modest fireplace. On either side of it, windows let in faint light from the outside. The only unusual detail is a pile of weapons stacked near the wall by the staircase leading upstairs. Wooden spears, crudely forged swords, and an assortment of arrows are heaped together. The smell of cooking onion fills the air, and your stomach grumbles. I'm Rick, the bald man introduces himself. His thick grey beard stretches all directions. I see you've met my son, Hugo. He glances at the young boy with black hair and narrow shoulders. Rick grabs a plate full of food from behind him and sets it down on the counter. Take this to your mother, Hugo. I'll attend to our guest. Without protest, Hugo takes the plate, and Rick turns his back to you. This is the Mist Catcher Inn, he says, tapping the counter with one hand. Hello? The Queen's Herald. Hugo freezes in the middle of the stairs, a plate in his hand, staring at you in surprise. Are you from Gart? Take your mother's food, Hugo. At the same time the boy on his way, Rick adds. I must admit, I wasn't expecting you to host a Herald today. Are you hungry, Herald? I am. Rick serves you a plate of food and says, Tell us, Herald, what brings the Queen's Herald to these parts? Hugo hurries downstairs, not wanting to miss the conversation, and looks at you with gleaming eyes. Gart, he says. Could you tell us about Gart? Let's see. Gart is continuing to grow. Nyantara has eased the tension between the other corners. Gart is in the process of recovering. The tension between the corners is greatly restricting Nyantara. The army's disappearance has caused significant loss of trust. The Knight of the Mist earlier told that the Queen could be desperate for sending a herald after the army, but it's fine. I'm glad to hear that, Rick says. The number of loyal people to the Queen is steadily decreasing around here, though Verena is doing her best to prevent that. He serves food for himself and Hugo as well. I assume that's why she wants to send you here? I'm here for the army. Rick shakes his head and takes a bite of food. That was my other guess. The onions in the stew don't look very appealing. The large carrots and potatoes are swimming in fat, and the meat is barely there. But it's been a long time since you have had a hearty dish, so you eat it gratefully. Army, tell me. They passed through the south of here, on the way to the 5th corner, but they didn't stop by here, which is a shame. The young people of our village were here very hopeful to see the written. To tell the truth, we always excited to meet them too. It's not every day you meet the folk heroes around here. Rumors? There's so many of them, each one more absurd than the last, whether Kai ascended to the throne with his army, or if they became one with the Mist and started protecting people, name it. Just to tell about it. If you ask me, the Mist simply swallowed them whole. It happens to be everyone who spends too much time out there. Anything else? As Rick eats his meal, he pulls out something from his mouth, inspects it briefly, and sets it aside on the edge of the plate before continuing to speak. I know they didn't stay long in the 5th corner. Word is the army has set out south. Has set out for the south. Guy wanted to meet with Glenn. Hugo, eating his own meals beside him, chuckles. Don't be ridiculous. Why would the written have wanted to meeting with Glenn? I'm sure he wanted to kill him. Since Glenn is still alive. Rick says, tapping his temple with a finger. Think before you speak, will you? What about the weapons? Security. Rick explains simply, then a dark expression falls over his face. Cloud Fisher is safe, but when the army disappeared, the whole balance shifted. The fifth corner went from being the strongest clan to the most vulnerable. The Mist Dwellers and the Liberated will likely try to take advantage of the situation soon. We ought to be prepared for such a scenario. Isn't the fifth corner's job to protect you? Right, but Verena can't do much more than provide a mad and elderly knight. A Reem? Our village madman. Not just mad, he's dangerous too. Yesterday he was harassing the traveling merchants from the fifth corner for no reason. And his sword wasn't in his scabbard. What do you mean by... I told me there's a thief in the village. Yeah, Reem's been obsessed with finding that thief lately. I think he still wants to feel useful. Aren't you worried? He hasn't studied anything important so far, just old things people don't use anymore. That's why we're not taking it seriously for now. But if he keeps this up, we'll do what needs to be done. What do you mean by mad? His mind isn't quite right. He zones out sometimes, yelling at the mist for no reason. He's getting more aggressive by the day. He's very lonely. He sits all alone in the mist, in the middle of the mists. I think it's a miracle he hasn't completely lost his mind yet. He's not just a soldier. He's also an old friend. I've known him since my youth. Whenever someone needed help, he'd be the first to run to their aid, and he didn't need to for the village. So he's about to become a problem willing to solve soon. What about the Cloudfishers? Just a small village minding its own business. Don't let its small and unprotected appearance fool you. It's probably one of the safest places around. It hasn't been attacked by either Mist Dwellers or the Liberated for maybe 30 years now. We're known for the fog catchers you saw outside, those giant nets. We collect water and supply it to the fifth corner in the Laren Monastery. The monastery, another location. How is it protected? Not drawing too much attention. Rick says, brushing it off, but you can tell there's more to it than that. What's the story of the inn? Rick sets his empty plate aside and starts wiping the counter with a damp cloth. I won't say it's much of an extraordinary story. It belonged to my mother's cousin, but when his children couldn't take over for various reasons, he took me in. I've been running this place for about 30 years now with my wife and son, which was when the last attack was. Can I ask why your wife eats her meal upstairs and doesn't join us? Rick and Hugo pause for a moment and look at each other. It seems you've touched a sensitive subject. She's unwell, Rick summarizes, though you sense there's a long story. Do Mist strangers drop by often? Yes, since the army disappeared, the number of people coming from the other corners has increased. Families whose children have joined the army, curious explorers eager to unravel the mysteries, opportunists trying to capitalize on it. There's been a steady stream of all sorts of passing through these past few years. So we're not the only one looking for it. I hope, Rick says, shooting Hugo a stern look. But after me, Hugo will take over this place, and the Mist Catcher will continue to be run by our family. How about a room for the night? Of course, his room is the first one on the right. Upstairs. It's an honor to host the Herald. Tonight's meals are on us as well. This is a good idea to leave Arim outside during the dread fog, Hugo says to his father. You know he won't listen to me no matter what I say. Go to the room. Arim's room is just big enough to fit a bed and a wardrobe. Next to the bed, there's a stack of books piled high and a small window. The room feels like a coffin. Through the window, you can see the dread fog thickening as night falls and engulfing the village. Look at the books. You sit on the bed and glance over the dust-covered books. All of them are yellowed and worn with age. Each one focuses on Kai and his achievements. The Wisdom of the Written by Berito Helmund. The 5 Oaths of the Knights of the Mists. The author's name has been crossed out. The Battle of Dreadfog. The Wisdom of the Written. When Written suffered his first defeat at the Siege of the Third Corner, nobody could believe it. His followers regarded him as invincible, trying to cover up his defeat. When they did, Kai turned them and said, "Don't you dare do such a thing. Let people see my failures, for if they don't see them, they won't see how I overcame them." The 5 Oaths of the Knights of the Mist. From this day forever, I will learn the path of the mist. I will always act for the benefit of the people and the greater good. I will uphold justice with my life. I'll be generous with those I'll be generous to those in need. Sword is my weapon, the mist is my shield. From this day forward and forever. The Battle of the Dreadfog. When Kai saw Dreadfog, the very thing everyone avoided at all costs, he saw not an obstacle but a solution. He dared to attempt what even the bravest Knight of the Mist could not. He led an entire army into the Dreadfog. When the Dreadfog lifted, Hemman, the leader of the Knights at the time, saw his enemy not where he had left him, but on the hill behind his army. He was left speechless, unable to stop the massacre that followed. Alright. Just about to savor the comfort of lying down without rocks digging in your back, there's a knock on your door. Hugo pokes his head through the cracks. Sorry, but can you talk for a moment? I know you're tired, but I won't take much of your time, I promise. Invite him in. Before closing the door quietly, he checks to make sure that the hallway is empty. Then he sits down on the bed right next to you. The dread fog has almost reached its final form, cloaking the village in darkness. The room is only lit by a single candle. Because it is in front of my father, I was going to tell you tomorrow, but I couldn't wait. I'm going to guard. I need your help. Your help. Why? My father won't approve of anything that doesn't involve me hauling barrels and tending to the inn all day. But I couldn't care less about the barrels or this inn. I know I can do better, and I need your help. What do you mean about help? There's a group of merchants from the fifth corner. Their camp is a 20-minute walk from here, to the north. They're heading to Gart, and they agreed to take me if I pay them. And you want me to get the money for you? I have some money, at least part of it. I'll manage the rest somehow, but that's not all they want. They also want blore. A precious ore. They miss an orange light strong enough to pierce the thickest fog. Enough provisions for the journey. Blore? Forget that you're a mist stranger. It's some kind of ore. When burned, it emits a light that cuts through the fog. To the mist. Excuse me, mist and the fog. An episode necessary for traveling around here, and as you might have guessed, it's highly valuable. How'd you get money? Don't worry about that. What about blore? Where can I find that? I don't know either. There used to be an active blore mine somewhere in the south, but I have no idea what state it is now. I'm sure it's sold in the fifth corner too, but then you'd have to pay for it. A blore mine to the south. In return, I'll tell you about my meeting with the army. I'll give you my valuable necklace. You met with the army? That's true, but I didn't stop you from sneaking away to go see them. Bit of a deal? He really wants your help, but you can guess that what Rick Mike thinks about this. What about your father? He cares about nothing beyond this inn in the village. I understand why. Everyone treats him like a leader, and whenever someone in the village should probably come to him, and he likes that. He's valued here and has a life. But me, I know I can do more than just deal with barrels all day. I'm more than what I appear to be, but I don't think I can prove that to my father. Why do you want to go to Gart? After all, it's the only corner where opportunities are flying around, right? I'm sure I can find something there to prove myself. The fact that it's not constantly covered in mist is quite appealing too. Alright, I can try. I do need the information. Thank you so much, Edwards. Hugo can barely contain his joy and almost moves to hug you, but holds himself back. Instead, he places his hand on your shoulder. I'll make it worth your while, I promise. He pauses just before leaving the room as something occurs to him. I probably don't need to tell you this, but don't mention this to my father, otherwise I'll be stuck here for the rest of my life. Depends if his father also has information on the army. Faint noises from downstairs pull you out of sleep. You're unsure as if they are part of the dream. You try to drift back into slumber, yet the subtle sound persists. You open your eyes at the dim light of the burning candles illuminate your room, and the pitch-black void outside confirms that only a few hours have passed. Getting up, you walk to the window, and peer into the— Hey, doggy is here. Either back. Getting up, you walk to the window and peer into the endless darkness. Oh. Doggy time. A faint glimmer emerged from the inn's entrance. Is someone stepping outside, or is the mist playing tricks on you? You watch the light as it gradually disappears into the dread fog's consuming shroud. You wait for it to return, but you are unable to fight the sleep. You stumble back to bed, surrendering to the pull of exhaustion. You feel well rested. Once again, sounds pull you from the deep sleep. This time is the raised voice from outside. You open your eyes to the bright room. The dread fog has lifted, replaced by the sun. Don't you dare lie to me, boy. Should I trust my own eyes over your words? A crowd is gathered, all watching the front of the inn with wide eyes. Following their gaze, you spot Aram. He's holding a sword. I saw you. He shouts at Hugo, who barely reaches Aram's chest. You've been sneaking around the dread fog. You stole my dagger. It was you, thief. I didn't steal your dagger or anything, Hugo retorts in his trembling, boyish voice. Aram charges towards the boy. Hugo tries to stand firm before the knight, but the impact causes him to lose his balance. The sword rises into the air. The inn's doors burst open with a loud bang, and Rix storms out. Aram! What are you doing? Get a hold of yourself. Aram freezes, his sword still raised. For a moment he stares at his hand as if it doesn't belong to him, then shifts his gaze to Hugo, lying before him with fear in his eyes. He lowers his sword. He starts to say, but they can't finish. Instead he turns and walks away. The crowd disperse. Some are eating breakfast inside the inn. Rick is bruising himself at the counter when he sees you. Good morning. I guess the chaos in the morning woke you up. I hope you slept well last night. What was the chaos about? Aram. He claims he saw Hugo out during the night. Let's listen. Rick lets out a deep, troubled sigh. Witnessing an old friend slowly change and lose himself, it's painful. It's not the first time I experienced something like this. There's something I want to talk to you about. My problem isn't just Aram, unfortunately. Maybe the Herald can help me. What is it? The problem is Hugo. He's gone mad with the idea of going to Gart. I'm sure he's told you there's a group of merchants. He wants to join them. I need you to stop him. He said he wanted my help. I knew it. This spoiled brat always has to make things difficult. Do not help him. Can't you stop him? If only you knew how many times I've tried, but all he cares about is running away. He doesn't understand that there are countless dangers out there. He thinks so high of himself because he never experienced the dangers of the outside world. He grew up in the safety of the village, under the protection that I provided. There's a flash of hatred in Rick's eyes. Why not? Why don't you let him go? Because I don't want to lose him. He's just a child. He doesn't know about the dangers of the mists. I'm sure when you look at him, you see that too. He wouldn't survive out there. Do you have information on the army? I don't know either. Maybe I could try talking to merchants? Meh, whatever. I'm anxious to repay your help. With that, Rick returns to his work, leaving you to finish your breakfast. Once you're done, you step out of the mist catchers. The village is calm. Your eyes catch sight of a few children chasing each other with sticks, a shepherd tending to some sheep, and people carrying sacks full of various goods. The mist as always lingers, but it's still thin for now. Look for Aram. No? You find Aram near the entrance of the village, sitting on a rock, gazing at the mountains. As you approach, you hear him muttering himself the 5 oaths. Greedy old knight. Aram acknowledges your greeting with a nod. He clears his eyes that he hasn't slept all night. Thanks for your room. My pleasure, Herald. This is my oath. I'll be generous to those in need. Have you found the thief? No, not yet. What about the thing with Hugo? I saw him wandering outside during the dread fog. I brought this up to something. I just haven't figured out what. My actions were wrong. I apologize. Are you sure it was Hugo? It was him. I saw him. What about apologizing to Hugo? You speak the truth, Herald. I'll be sure to deliver my apologies to those who need to hear them. I know what the others think of me, but I swore to protect those who need me. This vision is my responsibility. I'll always act for the benefit of the people and the greater good. I wonder what's actually wrong with him. And if it's a condition that's shared with the wife of Rick, then it could be figured out what happened. The net. You find Hugo leaning against the barrels, beneath the nets, idly watching the surroundings. When he sees you, he offers a slight smile. Hello, Edwards. I saw you and Aram arguing. Arguing? That man tried to kill me, and in front of everyone. Can you imagine dying like that? Spending 20 years hauling barrels only to have some lunatic come and end your life? Did you leave? Are you mad? Why would you go outside during the dread fog? It seems to be telling the truth, but it's hard to be certain. Do you just sit around all day? Did my father send you? Tell him I'm dealing with the barrels, alright? Uh-huh. Here's some rations for the road. I'm gonna need those. The mist catcher in. Any news? Not really. What do you sell? Rations. I could sell my own stuff. Lockpick, Ring of Life. What is that? Increase your max HP by 5. I mean, that sounds interesting. Rope. I'm buying that rope. Ink. Rations, health potions, arrows, daggers. How about Hugo? Nothing? Okay, well, let's just leave. There's only one direction to go in. The caravan, the merchant caravan. You climb the hill north of Cloudfisher, pressing down the pale green grass beneath your boots. The day is still fresh, and the air is crisp. If the smallest breath fills your lung completely. As the sparse trees rustle gently in the wind, you reach the hilltop, and spot the merchant caravan Hugo mentioned. There are 4 wooden wagons with people sitting inside around them. It's not hard to distinguish the merchants from the passengers. Their fine leather garments set them apart from the ragged cloth worn by the others. You only count 3 merchants. Approach them. Small children dart around the wagons, laughing as they play. But the moment they see you, the fear flickers in their eyes, and they run to their mothers. When their mother notices you, she gently touches the shoulder of a short woman beside her, nodding in your direction. The short woman slowly turns to face you. After taking the mother, she steps aside whatever task she was tending to and steps forward to greet you. With the throne light your path, traveler, the short woman says in a raspy voice. Her long blonde hair is woven into a thick braid that drapes over her shoulder and down her chest. I'm Arable, she introduces herself, the merchant in charge of this caravan. Judging by her finely crafted leather attire adorned with small, intricately sewn bead, she is quite wealthy. We're headed to Garth. If that's your destination, and if you have the coin, there's room enough for one more of our wagon. Doesn't look like there's any room. We'll find a place for you, don't worry. As long as I pay, you think to yourself. Talk to me about your caravan. Arabelle shifts the weight from one foot to the other, idly playing with her braid. We set out from the fifth corner, heading to Garth. It's a long and dangerous road, but we guarantee a safe and comfortable journey. This is probably the 50th time making the trip. And with each journey, our number of customers grow. How do you ensure safety? You have neither soldiers nor weapons. Will appearance fool you? Arabelle says. She gestures towards the other merchants. My two colleagues can wield the sword when needed, and I'm not defenseless either. There's 3 merchants for the whole caravan? More guards mean fewer customers, she says, and less money. As I've said, I've traveled this road many times. 3 people who know their trade are more than enough. What drives these people to go to Garth? Isn't it obvious? No one wants to waste their life in a fog-covered shithole. Garth promises a new and more glorious life. I came from Garth, and I've never seen you. Arabelle tries to hide her surprise. I already knew when I saw you. I can tell by the way Garthians look. You wouldn't have seen it. We're not going to the city center. We dropped the travelers at the farm south of the eastern gate. She's lying. They're never going to Garth. How long will you be there? Not for long. We set up camp here for a few days to gather what we need from cloud fishers. Why don't you stay inside the village? There aren't enough beds for everyone at the inn. I think the innkeeper doesn't like me very much. Why? No reason. It's just a feeling. Honestly, I don't like him either. There's nothing wrong with him, I can tell you that. He does get angry often. Tell me about yourself. I'm not looking for a lover, traveler. If you pay your fare and join our journey, you have plenty of time to get to know each other on the road. You sell anything? Sword, rations, amulet of life, fishing rod. I'm buying that. Alright then. I want to talk about Hugo. The young, scrawny boy. He comes by every hour to make sure we're still here, begging us not to leave without him. May I ask you to refuse to take him? I'm a bit surprised by your offer. Why would I refuse? If he pays, he's free to join us, just like everybody else. Are you really going to take advantage of a child's dreams and take him away from his family for a little more money? Don't try to manipulate me with sympathy. You're talking like the boy is 5 years old, he's an adult. If he pays, he can come with us, unless I pay more. 150 coins and 10 pieces of blore. The same price I charged the boy. Isn't 150 coins a bit low? True, that's why we don't turn our customers away. Well, I don't know how I'm gonna make that much money, but sure. Let's go back to the fork and go to compass. We don't have enough rations to make the way back, though. As the sun sets, the colors of the throne grow more vivid and distinct. While you waver between setting up camp for the night and pressing on, the silhouettes of several buildings emerge from behind the veil of the mist. It must be compass, you think to yourself. The mist thickens as you move forward, its color growing darker with your each step. Massive fires lit at the settlement pierce through the mists, creating scattered yellow patches in the haze. When you get close enough, you realize they're not just ordinary flames. Their color are much deeper orange, and their movement patterns resemble the motions of mists rather than normal flames. They look like orange mists pushing against the dark mists. Let me look at my journal. What are my current objectives? Some blow in a few days worth of provisions. 150 coins and 10 blower to refuse Hugo. But I get to keep my rations. Enter the village. I do need the information on the army though. At Compass, you're greeted by chaos. People are running back and forth in the haste and panic. The sound of strange fires is drowned out by the shouts and screams. You notice barrels, weapons, and makeshift walls being carried from place to place. As you move through the turmoil, no one seems to notice you. A group of young people pressing with their swords catching your attention. The way they give their weapons show how inexperienced they are. It's like the first time they've ever held a blade. At the very center of the village, distant statue depicts a human figure with his back turned toward you. To your right, you notice a crowd gathered in front of a 2-story wooden building. All shouting at a woman is visibly facing the crowd, standing at the forefront of the building. They won't attack during dread fog, the woman shouts at the crowd, though her words do little to cut through the noise. The brown-skinned woman has cropped, wavy, gray hair. Her sharp features give her appearance of someone in her 40s. We have enough blore. No one can touch us. That's enough, she finally snaps. Silence fall. Either disperse now and get back to work, or I'll deal with you myself before the soldiers, with a capital S, fight gets a chance. The crowd disperse unhappily. You stand still as the crowd disperses around you. The woman notices you and studies you as if trying to figure out who you are. Who are you? I haven't seen you before. I introduce myself. When they hear the word Herald, the people around you pause in surprise and look at you. A moment later, they glance nervously at the woman and they return to their task. The woman tries to hide her surprise but fails. The Queen's Herald here? At a time like this. She gestures for you to come inside. Let us talk. The building, as neglected inside as it is outside, was once an inn. Now all that remains are dusty tables and chairs piled into the corners. The counter stands empty and the floors are filthy. The windows, grimy enough to make curtains unnecessary, muffle almost all the noise from outside. At the center of the inn, people sit there in a rough circle of chairs, deep in discussion. They haven't noticed you or the woman yet. I'm Agnes. I'm the mayor of Compass. She extends her hand, drawing your attention from the group to herself. Did Quan send you? Who? Good, and you might be useful to us. She turns towards the group who are still in discussion. Let us introduce you to these poor souls. Agnes gestures into an empty chairs among the circle for you to sit and step into the middle, interrupting the group's discussions. The 4 people in the group turn their eyes to you, then back to Agnes. Apologies for interrupting your debate, Agnes says, pulling a small pipe from her pocket and packing it with tobacco. Allow me to introduce our guest, Edwards, the Queen's Herald, here to help us. Actually, I'm not here to help you. The Queen's Herald? A young man from the group interjects. You're from guard then? Yes, but I'm not here to help you. I'm just looking for the army. The man gives you a startled and peculiar look. Even so, Agnes says to you as she sits down. Helping us might aid you in your mission as well. No, Agnes. Another voice cuts in. An older man with unusually long white hair and a beard glances at you sideways. Are we really going to involve a stranger in our problems here? What's going on? Our lives are being threatened, Agnes explains, exhaling a plume of smoke. Unjustly so, as you might expect. And out here, there's no queen to defend us or to defend our rights. Will our herald stand up for us instead? If you truly need my help and I can be of assistance, then I can help. Eddie evaluates your honesty with a sharp gaze, and she turns to the young man who spoke earlier. Eddie, go ahead and explain. The problem is soldiers of the mists. Eddie explains. The young man appears to be in his 20s and has brown hair gathered in a small tuft atop his head. His thin beard and eyes match the color of his hair. They're claiming we haven't paid our taxes, but we have. Are trying to force us to pay again. Who are the soldiers of the mist? Are they different from the knights of the mists? The knights of the mists who do not serve the written. So they serve Diego. They're to Glenn, our dear clan leader. But soldiers serve Glenn, not Diego. Or they claim you haven't paid. That puny tax collector disappeared, that's why. They took our money and vanished. Now we're the ones at fault. Disappearing seems to be a trend around here. The mist determines your path, even if it's the dead end. What about the crowd? You want me to reassure them that everything will be alright. Unfortunately, that's something that I can't offer right now. What do you need? I find that the tax collector will be quite helpful. Agnes lets out a deep breath and looks at Eddie. I do love the innocence of youth. Only Karakan knows where the tax collector is, and he's not here, so don't bother looking. We need weapons, a lot of them. Eddie opens his mouth as if to interrupt, but Agnes raises her hand, silencing him. Others are speaking, Eddie. You don't really mean to fight the soldiers, do you? Exactly what I mean. I'm old, and I've seen enough tyranny from these so-called leaders. I'd rather die defending myself than give Glenn a single coin. What about us, Agnes? What if we don't want to throw away our lives like that? Agnes turns to the other 2 people in the room. What do you think, Oswin and Tom? I want to show them that they can't easily exploit us, says the white-haired man, whose name you've learned is Oswin. Tom, the broad-shouldered, stern-faced black man who hasn't spoken until now, says in a deep voice, agreed. The people outside don't look like they're good fighters. Because they're not, Eddie tries to join the discussion again, but silenced by Agnes once more. Eddie, despite his youth, is as skilled with any sword as any of the soldiers of the mist. He shares his experience with the others, and that's my problem anyway, so don't worry about it. So what do I get in exchange for these weapons? Our deepest gratitude. It may not mean much to you right now, but having friends in the mist is important. And money, of course. What happened? Let me tell it. Eddie asks for permission from Agnes. She gives him a slight nod. His name is Burden. He comes every 3 months to collect taxes, either coin or blore. He's not exactly a friendly man. Agnes cuts with a wicked grin. He means the bastard's a pimp. Eddie clears his throat and continues. Glenn has been raising taxes constantly for the past 2 years. Every time Vernon comes, he demands more from us. What is blore? And the dog wants to leave. Give me a moment. We'll let him go. Go, doggy, go. And he's gone. A valuable ore. Oswin interjects, sitting with his arms crossed. When burned, it emits a light that disperses the mist. The mist. He turns his gaze to Agnes. You're asking for help from a mist stranger, Agnes. Are you really that desperate? Are those strange fires outside blore? Indeed, says Oswin. Normally we wouldn't burn that much blore, but we're under threat. I know the soldiers won't attack during Dreadfog, but I won't take any risks. That's exactly what they want. They're forcing us to burn blood to put us in a difficult position. Thank you, Eddie. If it weren't for you, I don't know who would teach me advanced military tactics. Eddie opens his mouth in frustration, but quickly decides that it's not worth arguing. Why is he raising taxes? Because why wouldn't he? A tiny helpless village with no military power. How could he resist exploiting us? This Verdun, what does he look like? Pale, white skin, bald and bulging eyes. He has a fondness for dressing fancy, a belt studded with blue stones and silver bracelets. Last time Verdun came, he demanded twice the usual tax. Of course we refused at first, so he shouted, threatened us, then stormed out the village. He returned with a few soldiers of the mist. We knew this would happen, so we already gathered the rest of the tax and paid him. Ah, so first they refused to pay the tax and then they came back to the payment and left us alone, and then disappeared. A few days later, the other soldiers of the mist came asking where Verdun was. They searched the entire village and turned everything upside down. And now they're demanding payment again. We refused. They gave us a few days. If we don't pay that within that time, they're trying to ransack the village. There's 7 of them. There may not be much, but the soldiers of the mist are not to be underestimated. I should already call for reinforcements. Things are dire, as I can see, Herald. What do you say? Will you help us? I'll try my best. Perfect. Eddie, keep training people with the sword. Oswin, make sure no one's screaming and shouting in front of my building again. Tom, continue tending to everybody's needs. There's a dreadful tonight, Herald. You can't travel. You can stay in one of the rooms upstairs. They're not in the best shape, so my apologies. Dreadfog? Agnes stands up and walks towards one of the inn's curtain-covered windows. When she opens the curtain, you see a thick, dark fog surrounding the outside. So dense that even a step ahead is hidden from view. Sometimes even blow wouldn't be enough to disperse the dread fog. I'd say it's nice to meet them all and look for my room upstairs. As you stand up and leave the group, you notice Eddie looking at you as though he wants to say something. The young man seems to be holding something back, too hesitant to speak. Climbing the stairs and sneaking into the rooms upstairs, you can still hear the group downstairs arguing among themselves. Though you can't make out the exact words, you can tell that Eddie is against the idea of fighting and trying to convince Agnes. Do they stand a chance? Maybe, maybe not. But if we resolve the situation today by fighting Verdun and getting the taxes back, next year just be higher taxes again. So why can't you do both or something? Well, you decide that you put off the problem until tomorrow. In the room you're in, there are 2 beds separated by a small table in the middle. The room feels unused, covered in dust. On the walls where the bed leans against the window, there's dreadfog outside that's making it difficult to illuminate the room, so you light the candle on the table, and you go to sleep. The creaking of the bed as you shift wakes you up. When you open your eyes, you see the room is still dark, with the candle faintly flickering. It must have been only 2 or 3 hours. The noise of the argument from downstairs has ceased, but when you look at the door, you notice this faint light. Someone must be awake. Go! Rubbing your sleepy eyes, you quickly go downstairs. The chairs are arranged in a circular pattern, are now empty except for one. Agnes is sitting there, holding a cup, her eyes fixed on the ground. The large room is dimly lit. To the window, you can see the dark mist. Couldn't sleep? She turns her back, then glancing at you standing on the stairs. Can't say without a few barrels of this. Care to join? Sure. You're cleaning your mugs with Agnes. You down the beer in one go. A bitter herbs and dry bread tastes fill your mouth. Finishing her drink, Agnes lets out a hiccup and says, "Tell me, Herald, is Garty any different from this hellhole?" Yes. What about the Queen? What about her? What is she like? Is she as beautiful and charming as the story says? She has an aura. Agnes laughs as if you just told a hilarious joke. Once I get this village in order, I'd go pay her a visit myself and see what all this beauty is about. She takes a large gulp from the beer and continues. I also ask her while she does it, you know. I barely manage a small village while she manages and handles a whole continent. How'd you end up the mayor? I guess people like leaders who shout and command, and I'm one of those people. She says, her brown eyes looking down as memories flicker in her mind. It's strange. When I look back on my life, I realize how little control I actually had. Life pushed me, and I just kept walking. You regret it? A lot. Agnes thinks for a moment. I wish I had taken more control. I wish I'd be braver. The bad decisions of incompetent leaders have always shaped my life. But not anymore. I won't listen to Glenn or anyone else dictate my life. The soldiers of the mist will leave us just as quickly as they came. What about you? My life is in my hands. Even though not everything that happens to me is under my control, how I react to those events and overcome them is up to me. Agnes nods, though she seems lost in her own memories. You both continue drinking and chatting, the night fading into a blur. You vaguely recall laughing, clicking your glass together, and drinking until you were sick. And I do still feel well rested. You open your eyes, your head is throbbing, and you find yourself in bed. Your stomach churns and you feel like you're about to vomit. It takes a few minutes to regain your composure. The candle has long since gone out and the dread fog dissipated. The light streaming through the window only worsens the pain in your head. Pull yourself together. As you step out the empty inn and into the small village, you notice that the chaos from last night has faded. People are continuing with their daily routine. The fog is light and the blower fires have been extinguished. A few children are running around the statue at the center. You spot Eddie nearby, instructing some on swordplay. To the north of the statue, there's a small shop, with Oswald sitting in front of it. Agnes and Thomas seem to be nowhere in sight. Approach Eddie. You want to say something. Eddie moves freely among his students, shouting instructions as he dances with his swords. His brown hair whips through the air, sending his sweat flying with each movement. The trainees try to resist his attack, but their efforts are futile. As you approach, a few young trainees turn their attention to you. Hey Edwards, I was hoping to talk to you. What do you want to talk about? There's a hint of exhaustion in his eyes, but his stance remains firm. About last night. Eddie gestures for the trainees to disperse. Break up until midday sun, he says before turning back to you. If you don't mind, I'd like to discuss a few things I'd like to just keep between us. Alright? Eddie nods as he sheathes his sword. You said you were looking for the army, right? He glances around to make sure no one's listening. I might know a few things about that. I don't know what happened to them, but I do know a few things that might be helpful to you, if you help me. What is it? Oh, you're thinking about helping Agnes, but I'm asking you not to. We can't stand against the soldiers of the mist. I'm sure you can see that. These people are not warrior. What, so was your idea? If you somehow find the tax collector, dead or alive, you may be able to get the soldiers to leave us alone, without people dying. Where do I look? I have no idea. Do you remember Verdun speaking with Oswin? Maybe you should ask Oswin about it, without making it too obvious that you're looking for him. The option is to secretly pay the tax again without Agnes knowing, but asking for a lot of money. I'm trying to gather what I can from here and there, but I'm not sure it will be enough. How much is the tax? 500 coins. What do you mean here and there? From the villagers. Most of them don't want to fight either. I wish Agnes could see that too. If they don't want to fight, then it's not a good cause. How much did you collect? I've managed to gather 150 coins. We still need 350 more. I know it's a lot, but that's about the lives of innocent people. How's the training going? Terrible. I feel like I'm preparing them for their deaths. What did you learn to use a sword? That's the third corner. I used to beg the military unit every day to train me. Since I was too young, they would scold me each time and send me back to my father's glassware shop. Eventually, they put me through an intense program just to make me give up. They wanted to break my spirit, but they underestimated my stupidity. Can you teach me how to use a sword? Sword attacks. With a heavy price. What do you think about Agnes? I think she's a good leader, but I don't know. She's become more aggressive and irritable. She has no patience left for anything, and the less patience she has, the more indifferent she becomes. Oswin. You find Oswin behind a stall, where various goods are laid out for sale. He is leaning back and reading a book. When your shadow falls over him, he looks up and meets your gaze. Welcome, Herald. There's something that catches your eye? What are you reading? This? The Corners of Barang. It's a book about the history of the Corners. I've been reading for the past 2 years or so. Can't seem to finish it. Tell me about Compass. In all my years of life, I have neither seen nor known a place as peaceful as unassuming. That was Simon of Compass wrote about this place in his journal. Oswald rolls up his sleeve as if he's been expecting this question and begins to explain. What about the history of Compass? According to a book written by Simon of Compass, a small family named Oren established a farm here. The exact date is unclear, but in his book, Simon suggests it was between 117 and 120 AA. Ascension something. He pauses more for a moment, trying to recall the details. The Oren family eventually sold the farm and returned to the Mist Dwellers. Simon found the last surviving members of the family on his deathbed in the final stage of life. Who is this Simon of Compass? A very famous historian. He managed to fit numerous history books into his short 34-year life, shedding light on many mysteries of what his research. Since he was born in Compass, he's the only historian who's about to research a small village. According to what Simon wrote, Oren wasn't in his best state of mind, but Simon managed to learn a few things from him. Once the farm started bringing some money, he hired a few workers. Those workers settled here with families. That's how this place became a village. If you want to murder more, you can read the book. I have a copy, but I don't like lending it. Borrowed books tend to not find their way back. What's this called Compass? Karakon, his gleaming eyes of Blore face north, guiding many lost travelers, even during the dread fog. That's all about Compass. About you. I do enjoy talking about myself. Why would you like to know? You don't need to be worried about the soldiers. Because I have complete faith that Agnes will solve the problem. I haven't seen a problem she hasn't overcome yet. Are you with Agnes close? She likes to consult me before making any certain decisions, and I share my thoughts as much as I can. Sometimes we sit and discuss the books we read for hours. I used to be a merchant for the Mist Dwellers. I ran a small shop with my partner. Life was busy but good. Oswin exhales deeply, recalling the old days. Then I found out my partner was working behind my back. While I was none the wiser, he was laundering the money of special clients. Laundering money? Of course, I didn't find out until the soldiers caught him, but he was prepared. All the blame fell on me. He tilted his head slightly and continues. Let me be given an honest enemy rather than a false friend. He quotes, not sure if you've understood the reference. The 10 Pillars of the Sacred Family by Verosho Helmoon. I ran. By chance, Agnes was in the Mist Dwellers at the time. She used to stop at the shop every time she came by. Though we didn't know each other well, we were acquainted. I happened to run into her while I was fleeing and told her everything. She gave me a new life here. And my dear partner is running the shop alone in the Mist Dwellers. What about... If you don't worry about the soldiers of the Mist, why aren't you... like this? They already know I'm here, but they don't really care. They know I'm just a token criminal. Of course, that doesn't mean I can return to the Mist Dwellers. They might not leave me alone then. Don't you want revenge? Revenge doesn't heal wounds, it makes them permanent. I'm gone with my life, and even if I do nothing, I'm sure one day all my partner's crimes will fall on him. Maybe just fooling myself. What about these special clients? I don't know. There's no doubt they're wealthy and powerful people. Agnes always says it could be Glenn himself. To be fair, Agnes blames Glenn for everything bad. Don't worry, my friend, I'm gone with my life. Although a betrayal by my friend is heartbreaking and it's not something I'd let ruin my life. Money. Let's see. Spellbook of Summon Lockpick. Rations. We need to buy rations. Let's get 10. That's all my money. Rope, lockpick, element of mana, ink. Eddie said Verdun talked to you before leaving Compass. He did. He brought some supplies and left, complaining about how vile the village was. What did he buy? He bought some rope, bandages, and chains. If he got anything else, I don't remember. What about... What did he mention where he was going? He didn't say, but I was remembering seeing them head southwest. There was a greedy look in his eyes, and again, that's just how Verdun looks in general. Look for Agnes. After circling the entire village several times, we finally find the grumpy woman at the eastern exit of the village, helping people erect a fortification around the settlement. She's shouting at other men while holding up the wooden wall, sweating as others drive it into the ground. When the wall is secured, she steps back and dusts out for a hand. Now that's more like it, she says, while wiping the sweat off from her short white hair. How do you feel safer? She grins at the other men and pat their arm in support. Don't you have other responsibilities? No, just wait. As she laughs with the other men, one of them gestures towards you, drawing your attention to you. She approaches you, pulling a pipe from her pocket and cracking it with tobacco. I figured you'd be long gone by now. Didn't think you'd sleep in this late. Guess I forgot there's nothing in Garth that really forced you to wake up early, she adds with a sly grin. You just find it amusing but suppress their smile. You don't seem to be worried at all. Lighting her pipe and blowing the smoke into the air, she gestures for you to follow her. Together, you find a suitable rock to sit on side by side and watch the villagers continue their work on the wall. The sun is bright, the mist nearly gone, and birds chip in the air. If you didn't know the village was preparing for battle, it could have been a peaceful moment. I'm worried, I'm just trying not to show it. Would you really want to fight these soldiers? Of course I'm not. Agnes says, and suddenly jumping to her feet, she shouts at the men. Enough with the idle chatter, I'm the mayor, I get to rest, you back to work. My hope is that they see how stubborn and unyielding we are. They won't dare to cross us again. Only the soldiers will let Glenn appear weak in front of a small village. Contrary to what many people think, Glenn isn't stupid. He's well aware of the importance of the tax and other goods coming from Compass. Talk to me about Compass. Just another fog-covered shithole. What do you want to know? History? Talk to Oswin. Why is it called Compass? How should I know? How come there are no trained soldiers? There used to be. Years ago, Glenn ordered every young man who could hold a sword weapon to go to the Mist Dwellers. Supposedly he was going to train them. Fucking liar. What are the weapons you asked for? Where should I look for weapons? I'm not going to talk about Eddie yet. I see a statue at the center of the village. It's Karakon, the man with the biggest dick. Agnes explained. She then raised her head towards the throne, which appears dim in the day. Sorry. No, know anything about the army. Wish I knew, so I could use it as a bargain chip for your help, but unfortunately I don't. Just nonsensical gossip. I heard there was a conflict between the Written and Glenn, our genius clan leader, somehow managed to defeat the Queen's Breast Knight. I would have believed it if I hadn't seen the scrawny Glenn back myself. Why don't you like Glenn? Why would I like a spoiled brat? While keeping her eyes on the working man, Agnes takes another pull from her pipe. This time it makes her cough. Everyone talks about how clever and cunning he is. Just like his father, but if you ask me, he's pretending to be his father. Not that I like Diego either, but at least the man had presence. When you thought of a leader, he was the first person that came to mind. What's Glenn's presence? What does he want? He just sits in his chairs making our lives more difficult. If you go to the Mist Dwellers, Glenn will probably want to meet with you. Say hi if you see him and spit in his face. Alright. Approach the statue. The gray statue with blue eyes stares at the Shah in the sky. The fifth month of the year, named after one of the 23 ships of the survivors. During this time, the throne is cloaked in orange. The month lasts for 35 days. It's also named the moon. Okay, there's the moon. Its muscular form is exaggerated, with a chest as broad as a bull's. The expression on his face is inscrutable. Is it anger, disappointment, or a mix of both? You don't need to read the description of the platform to know who this is. Karakhan the Ascendant, the wisest, most powerful being. Save the game. Stop praying for the world around you fades. No voice of people, no ground beneath you. As your prayer ends and you open your eyes, your color returns. I go inside the old inn. The inn's interior is quite neglected and messy. Both the counter and the tables are covered in dust. In the center of the inn, chairs arranged in a circular pattern remain in place. Behind the counter, you see Tom. He's wearing a dirty white apron tied around his front, slicing something with a knife that looks tiny in his large hands. When the broad-shouldered sees you, it gives you a slow nod of acknowledgement. Are you the owner of the inn? No, it's Agnes. Why is it so run down? Reason? Maybe because everyone's preoccupied with the upcoming conflict. Not like anyone cares enough to complain. Time to leave. Now we have a couple directions. They all need a lot of ration. Ah, this one doesn't need many rations. Let's go this way. The mist field. You follow the path up the hill. The boulders around you, taller than you are, stand rigid against the wind, while they wash your ascent. As you climb higher, the wind grows stronger, making you plant your feet more free on the ground. Continue your path. As you walk through the dark rocks shrouded in mist, you suddenly come across a group of lightly armored individuals. You count 6 of them. None of them seem at all surprised to see you. Some of them greet you as if they were expecting you, while others continue their task, ignoring your presence. They all wear cloaks in a dull green color. Their armors bear the emblem of a sword enveloped in mist. The emblem is crossed out. The soldiers of the mist. Among them, a man with a noticeably heavier armor steps forward. His jet black hair is cut short like the others. He plants his sword into the ground and stands before you. Greetings, stranger. I'm Khan, the commander of the Soldiers of the Mist. May I know who you are and what you bring here? The Herald of the Mist. The other soldiers who had initially paid little attention pause and look at you. None of them expected to encounter a herald. Quan squints at your seal, then turns his back to you. A herald? How intriguing. As the others exchange glances and gradually return to their task, Quan continues to scrutinize you. Tell me, Herald, why did the Queen send you here? To find the army. I understand, says Quan, tilting his angular face slightly. His black eyes remains on you. Do you have any information about the army? I know a few things, yes. I don't know where they disappeared to or what happened to them, of course. So just to say, I know a few things that they did before they vanished. I can't share much, but our clan leader Glenn might be able to help you with that. Why not? I'm just a soldier. I prefer to leave matters to our clan leader. I outright your leader. Can you please share things with me? While Quan simply stares at you impassively, the other soldiers share relax among themselves. The Queen's authority is not very strong in this corner, but I'm sure Glenn will help you out. I won't. Alright. You're the soldier to the compass? Threatened. Really asking them to repay their debts. They're the ones making this bigger than they need to be. Will you leave them alone if I find the tax collector? Yes, he says. The wind tussles his short hair. But I wonder why are you helping them? What are they promising you in return? Information. I understand. He doesn't bother asking what information, but you can tell he's curious. What will you do if they don't pay? In that case, we'll collect the tax ourselves by force. Already paid. It's not their fault the tax collector disappeared. If that's true, the tax collector really did disappear, then they're simply unlucky. That's how the world works. Nothing to be done about it. I'm so lucky I'm not accusing them of murder. Someone else in my place could have. I don't think I'm sure, and I have no proof. My mother has always issued with authorities, causing trouble every time she got a chance. She keeps pushing her luck, forcing us to cross the line. This time I'm ready to cross it. Agnes is your mother? Oh. Didn't she tell you? I'm not surprised. Huh. About compass, nothing. Well, time to leave. I think we'll be seeing each other again, Herald. Well, that's critical information. Let's go southwest to where maybe the Herald, wait, I don't have any money. I don't have the provision. We'll be fine. The Blore mine. Where Vernon disappeared. As you follow the mists in the western road, The soil beneath your feet gradually hardens to stone. While the tree gives way to sparse grass, the morning is still young, and the mist is not too dense. You can see it gently streaming down the treetops, like a slow-moving river. When you reach the end of the path, you find yourself standing before the entrance of the mine. The mine's entrance is guarded by a rotting wooden door. Standing in the front of it is a man, with a hammer in one hand and a few nails held between his teeth. He appears to be trying to repair the door. His horse is grazing a little further out, tied to a tree. He doesn't notice as you approach at first. The sound of the hammer striking the sound of the hammer striking wood echoes faintly in the dark. When he catches sight of you from the corner of his mouth, he flinches slightly and spits the nails out of his mouth. Greet the man. He returns your greeting with a tense expression. If you've come to enter the mine, you're too late, traveler. Glenn ordered the mine to be sealed. You see wooden planks scattered on the ground. It seems the man has only begun to processing the entrance. Is it abandoned? Some of the blower walkers and the miners they've killed, it's empty inside. A blower walker, a humanoid yet mindless creature. Embedded in the center of the forehead is a blower shard, which allows them to see and navigate within the mist. They feed on small animals that are aggressive towards humans. With their sharp teeth and powerful arms, they're incredibly lethal. Who are you? Not anyone important. The most perfect oval-shaped belly suggests a close relationship with alcohol. Why did Glenn order it to be sealed? As far as I know, the place is crowded with blower walkers, and it isn't safe, especially not for random travelers passing through. What else? A blower mine, that's all, nothing special. Can I enter? It's too late. Glenn specifically ordered the entrance to be sealed. If you really want to, you need to ask him for permission. Don't have any coins. Come on, I take a step towards the man and give him a stern look. I don't want trouble. I just need an hour inside. Ooh, good roll. The man clears his throat. Come to think of it, I'm not that much in a hurry, but I won't wait more than an hour. Keep that in mind. Deal. The man sidesteps to open the mine's entrance. Beyond the wooden door lies a darkness that is anything but inviting. As you step inside, you notice a corridor ahead, and at its far end, an orange glow. Clack! The wooden door slams shut behind you, cutting off the light. Spinning around you, you spot the man's face peering through a small hole. Sorry about this, traveler. There's no way you're making it out of there alive. To be a good sport and hand over all your coin and belonging, and maybe I won't leave you locked in here. I'll find another exit, then I'll come after you. Be ready. The man begins to laugh, though his laughter is interrupted by a hiccup. Good luck. Let's see how long it takes you to change your mind. I'll give you an hour. If you don't cooperate by then, I'll seal this place up and leave. Wait, one more thing. There's no other way out of the mine. Dive into the mine. Move towards the faint glow at the end of the dark corridor. The passage curves to the right, opening to a wide chamber. The ceiling rises nearly 5 meters above you, covered in faintly glowing blower that casts a dim light. Leaning against the walls are broken wooden ladders. At the far end of the room, you notice some kind of wooden structure. To the right, another corridor leads deeper into the mine. A strange smell of burning into the air, and everything feels unnervingly still. Check out the structure. You see a lift system operated by ropes and wooden columns. The gap on the ground extends into darkness, with the platform likely located on the lower level. On both sides of the mechanisms are rotating wheels used to move the platform. Rotate the wheels. Despite pushing with all your strength, it barely budges, only creaking in protest. When you look down into the void, you can barely make out the platform below. If you jump, it might hurt like hell, but you'll survive, probably. Use your rope to climb down. Hey, good roll. And I lose the rope. You successfully grip the rope and descend and begin your descent. As you go down, the rope gradually gives in to your weight, snapping in sections. You speed up. The rope snaps completely and you plummet downwards. Since you manage to get close to the ground, you land safely on your knees and meet the ground without taking much damage. The rope falls after you. The sound of your landing reverberates through the mine, traveling to the depths. A moment later, a guttural growl rises from the darkness in response. You're not alone in the mine. Once again, you find yourself in a large open cavern. The blower deposits on the ceiling emit a dimmer glow, casting just enough light to reveal the still form of blower walkers scattered across the floor. There are no human corpses in sight. Every wall in the chamber, except for the right side with the lift system, leads to a corridor. In the darkness of the passage, faint noises reach your ears. Clicking sounds, shuffling footsteps, echoes that you can't identify. Check out the lift. Several ropes hold up the wooden platform, large enough to fit 4 or 5 people. The remaining ones don't look much sturdier, but they might hold a single person. On either side of the platform, there are rotating pulleys. You need to pull the rock-filled container out of the platform. Not yet. Check out the blower walker corpses. The blower chunks embedded into their foreheads are either cracked or entirely extinguished, as lifeless as their empty eyes. Their grey bodies are covered in red scratches that look like they were made with pickaxes. Through some of their mouths, you can see sharp teeth covered in black stains. There's a corridor ahead, on the left and on the right. Let's go straight ahead. You let the dark corridor pull you in. The narrow passages tighten as you move forward, forcing you to sidestep. It curves to the right and opens to a small chamber. There appears to be a storage room. Along the walls are scattered tools and stacks of wooden crates. Inside the crates you spot blower and other various materials. I step inside. Bleep. As you step into the room, your foot catches on a wire, and a sudden rumble echoes from above. Something is hurling towards you at an alarming speed. Roll. You hurl yourself to the side, and before you even hit the ground, a thunderous crash echoes behind you. As you recover, you see you see what fell, a massive boulder, now shattered into countless fragments upon impact with the floor. You don't notice any more traps, but you remain cautious with every step you take. The room contains a chest and a few items that might prove useful, but there's also a staircase leading further down into the depths. Take coins, pickaxe, 3 health potions. Check out the chest. The wooden chest is wide enough to fit a sword, and stands almost knee-high. With its decorations made of colorful stones and delicate metalwork, it looks more like an expensive chest that you would find in the palace of a wealthy lord rather than a dark abandoned mine. There must be quite a few valuable things inside. You try to open it after removing the crates piled on top, but as expected it's locked. The metal lock appears sturdy, but it looks like it could break if you hit it hard enough. Pick. Lock the pick. Pick the lock. Good or not? Nah, doesn't work. I can try again. Can I try again? Pick the lock. Oh, I lose lockpick every time I do that. You put a lockpick from your pocket and slide it onto the keyhole. Pressing your ear close to the chest, you focus on the subtle ticks and try to feel every movement on the pick. After a few minutes, a satisfying click echoes and the lock clackers. Open the chest. While there are a few things that might be useful, you're somewhat disappointed. Who would use such a lavishly designed chest to store just a few pieces of trash? 1 blower, arrows, and a sword. And my inventory is now full. You move away from the lavishly decorated room. Go down the stairs. With each step you take down the stone stairs, the room below comes further into view, revealing the horrors that have unfolded there. The wide chamber is filled with human corpses, scattered in every direction. The ceiling stretches high, beyond what your eyes can see. Right in front of you, a wall formed by the shifting waves of mist blocked the entrance, which is wide enough for 2 wagons to pass through. The walls shine bright, illuminating the whole chamber. The mists forming the wall shift slowly, drifting in various directions. The very center of the wall, suspended with the swirling mist, is a blower walker, with its arms and legs spread wide. However, the light of its forehead is not the usual orange, it glows a deep purple. The far left of the room lies a wide mouthed chasm. Its edges, like the rest of the chamber, are surrounded by lifeless bodies. Come. It's a voice, deep and resonant. At first, it feels as if the mind itself has spoke. Then you notice the eyes of the walker within the mist's wall, slowly open. Approach, it commands, its voice echoing through the mind. Look around the room. You tread carefully, avoiding stepping on the lifeless bodies strewn across the floor. Men and women with daggers lodged in their backs, heads severed, arrows piercing their necks. There's not a single walker to be seen. Must have turned on each other. What could be the reason? Check the chasm. You approach the edge of the chasm and it's turned to the dark void. A small stone. The darkness swallows the stone, and a few seconds later you hear it hit the water. The next looks inviting, but if the water is not deep enough, jumping could be a disaster. Approach the mist wall. You approach the mist wall. The walker trapped within the swirling mist watches you with wary, ancient eyes. Lets out a deep, rumbling sound. Good. Good. You, not him. Him? The scholar caused all. What the hell are you? Glory, they called. Why are you purple? Corrupted. The scholar did. Every time the scholar is mentioned, his face twists in anger. What happened here? They descended into the depths. Saw the truth. They divided, shattered. What's behind the mist wall? The truth. Must remain hidden, but I can't endure. Please help. Must remain hidden. Glory groans as if in pain. How can I help? Take it, he says, directing his gaze upwards. He's referring to the blower on his forehead. To the scholar's chamber, to the other mist barrier. Save Glory. Why are you imprisoned? He was afraid for the truth spreading. What happens if I take the blower? Blower will be free. Please. How can I lift the mist wall? You can't. Only he, the scholar. Alright. You don't have enough space. Okay. Let's ditch. One armor. I could just sell this stuff. I'm not gonna ditch my rations. The fishing rod seems to be the thing I need to ditch. But I'm not sure if I can buy another. I'll just sell all this stuff. I'll ditch the fishing rod. Okay, take the blower. You tear the palm-sized purple blower from its place, ripping it free from the nerves that it was attached to. Blue lets out a scream of agony before all lights fade from his eyes. The mist forming the walls go wild for a moment, swirling and intertwining in a frenzy. Fearing it might explode, you step back, but nothing happens. The mist gradually slow and settle. Okay, to the chasm. Jump in. Take a deep breath, gathering your courage, and let yourself fall into the seemingly endless, inviting dark. The icy water embraces you. Luckily, the water is deeper than you expected. As the bubble surrounding you fades, you see skeletons resting at the bottom, now home to moss and small fish. Veins of blur at the bottom reveal a tunnel to you. Swim to the tunnel. You follow the veins of blur, swimming to the tunnel. It's wide enough for two people to swim side by side comfortably, but it gradually starts to narrow as you progress. The veins of blur become thinner and thinner until they are nearly non-existent. You find yourself swimming in deep darkness. Keep swimming! Failed. Can I die? Oh. When you open your eyes, coughing and drenched, you find yourself staring up at the sky. You take a deep breath of fresh air, filling your lungs, and crawl out of the small pool of water you're in. For a moment, you're focused solely on the warmth of the sun against your skin. You're in a small grassy clearing surrounded by rock. After the darkness of the mine, the color of the grass appears unnaturally vivid. A little further ahead, a human body. Check the body. The body belongs to a man with pale skin, bald, appearing to be in his 30s. His colleagues suggest he has wealth. Like you, he must have jumped in the chasm, but it seems he drowned before reaching the end of the tunnel. Checking for stuff. You find a dagger and a rather heavy pouch of coin. You wonder how someone so wealthy ended up with the discovered ledger on his pocket. Take the pouch of coins. I can't fit the dagger, but it's shiny. Can't fit in my bag. Needs 3 dexterity. Hopefully I can just leave the body here. I take a look at the ledger. Most of the notes in the ledgers have been erased. The ink has been smudged. As you flip to them, you find a few pages that are still legible. Most of them seem to be recorded by the tax collector. This must be the tax collector. I take the ledger. It might be able to show it to the soldiers as evidence. Climb the rock. As you emerge covered in wounds and dirts, you struggle to determine your location, but you believe that you've surfaced somewhere north of the mine's main entrance. Finally being free from the suffocating darkness of the mine feels good. The ground trembles slightly before your feet, and you get a feeling that you'll eventually return to the mine. The journey is not over yet, and finish the demo. Ah, it finishes here, huh? Okay, well that'll be today's playthrough. I think we'll try another one tomorrow. We'll try another build. We'll go. How about we go with magic? And this time we will. Let me think. We'll try to explore more of the mine. How about that? Anyway, that'll be that for today. See you guys tomorrow. Bye bye. Boop.